Yeah,
She stepped out for a moment.
Okay.
She'll be back.
Be back.
really.
Somebody else say it's recorded in the cloud, right?
Mm-hmm, yes. Trustee Borowski,
Here.
trustee Jamil,
Here.
trustee Kritzmeyer, trustee O'Connor. Here. Trustee O'Reilly.
She hasn't been read in yet.
Here.
Okay, trustee Tanucci.
Here.
We're gonna need to have a, acting president elected. Chris has been designated, if it's a motion,
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
Trustee O'Connor,
Aye.
trustee Tanucci,
Aye.
trustee Borowski,
Aye.
trustee Jamil.
Don't you have to recuse yourself?
We have to vote.
I don't think so.
He can vote for him, and it doesn't matter, the outcome would be the same on that vote. We also have a request from, trustee O'Reilly to participate electronically. We need a motion and a second for that.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee O'Connor,
Aye.
trustee Tanucci,
Aye.
trustee Borowski,
Aye.
trustee Jamil.
Bobby, welcome to the meeting. Can you hear us?
Yes. I've
All right,
already
very
voted.
good. I know, we heard you vote for that, so thank you.
Surprise me.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll begin with the pledge of allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Appreciate that. Our first order of business on the agenda today is homeowners associations business. And since we didn't have a meeting last month, we have an extraordinary number of homeowners associations that we invited to today's meeting. Is anybody from Fairfield Village here that would like to make any comment? Thank you. Anybody from Heron's Landing on the line or in person that would like to make comment? Yes, please identify yourself.
Yes, I'm Glenn Nelson, president of the Heron's Landing Homeowners Association. And having been on the board for 16 years, I know my residents all support me in saying thank you to everyone for your volunteering and the work that you do for our community. I know sometimes it feels like a thankless job, but we can all sleep well at night knowing that we're doing our best for the community. I do want to say, if you had any hand in the support that Greg and company are providing our neighborhood in dealing with an abandoned home, we greatly appreciate it. There is a lien against the home by the village of Long Grove, and we are instilling one ourselves. So, thank you for that, and should we have any other discussions, we'll be sure to be here and then talking to Greg.
Thanks, Mr. Nelson,
I
appreciate it.
actually have a comment for you.
Yes.
I would request that you convey to your residents that Oakwood Road has 2 stop signs and a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit. You have several flagrant violators in your neighborhood that treat Oakwood Road like it's a drag strip. And your predecessor was not willing to do that.
And what is it that you would like us to do?
Stop at the stop signs and limit your speed to 25 miles an hour. There are families with small children living on Oakwood Road.
All right, respectively, there is a stop sign there that says stop,
And many of your residents ignore it.
and respectively, there is a speed sign that goes to the speed.
And many of your residents ignore it.
Yes, I don't know if it's the homeowner's association responsibility. We manage the assets, we manage the programming, but we're not responsible for individuals' actions. It would seem pedantic, it would seem condescending, should we tell adults to drive safely, watch out for kids. Well, we do that on occasion, because we've all dealt with teenage drivers in our neighborhoods.
These are not teenagers. Some are, but most are not.
Okay, understandably, I don't have knowledge of who these individuals might be.
I do. I won't publicly name them, but I do know.
Okay. Well,
Hey,
certainly, I hope that you are talking to the sheriff about it.
Yes, we are, as a matter of fact.
Okay, well, we as adults, it's not in our covenant, it's not within our bylaws.
Don't make me hit the hammer. I don't wanna hit the
But thank you
hammer.
for bringing that
I
up.
really don't wanna hit it.
We're well aware of it, and I was on a call with you earlier this year.
All right, thanks you guys. Ken, thanks for stating that. If there's anything you could do to help us out, we'd be appreciative, but we are working with the other resources to try to mitigate some of that, for sure.
We are notifying the neighborhood in our next newsletter that the sheriff and, the village of Longboat is redoubling efforts with, sheriff patrols on that road.
Okay, good.
Thank you, appreciate that. Okay, Edgebrook Downs, Mr. Lerner, or anybody from Edgebrook available? Okay, let's move on. Country Club Meadows, anybody from Country Club on the line or here that wants to make comment? Thank you, and been here a long time, I've never pronounced La Savane properly, I have no idea how to pronounce that. Yeah, so anybody from
Lou,
Lou Savane available, want to make any comment? All right, thank you very much, appreciate that. Agenda item number 3 are public comments. Anybody from the public on the line or in person want to make any public comments this evening? Okay, very good, thank you. Public safety reports, I don't see the sheriff here tonight, so I assume we don't have a public safety report? That's correct. Oh, very good. All right, agenda, well, the next section of the agenda is the consent agenda. I know we've received an email from trustee Tanucci, regarding possibly removing one item, which is still like that.
Yes, I would like to remove item 12 from the consent agenda and consider it on its own.
All right, I don't think we actually need to vote on that, we just kind of accept that, right? Okay, so consent agenda item 12, is removed from the consent agenda.
And we should have then a motion to approve 5 through 11 as consent agenda.
So moved.
Second?
First by trustee O'Connor, second by trustee Tanucci. That's a roll call vote?
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee Jamil.
Aye.
And trustee O'Meara.
Trustee O'Reilly, can you hear us?
Aye.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Bobby. Okay, so let's move on to agenda item number 12. This is consideration of approval of a special event application for August 13th of this year, which is, I guess, being called the Half Nelson Beer Wrestling Event, and the applicant is Buffalo Creek Brewing. I'm not sure how to set this up or begin the dialogue. I think you've seen information in our packet, perhaps trustee Tanucci can.
I can start off. So the applicant says that this is a wrestling ring set up in the beer garden with amateur wrestlers to promote our Half Nelson beer. Now, when you hear the term amateur wrestling, you might think of perhaps an athletic wrestling event with athletic wrestlers. As a matter of fact, the promoter himself describes this as professional wrestling. And for anybody who's had a chance to view the promotional video, you can see that this is not a benign wrestling event like you might find in a high school wrestling event, for example. This is professional wrestling. People getting slammed down on the ground. I mean, I'm sure everybody's seen professional wrestling and all that goes with it. And I hope you've had a chance to review the video that was in the board packet. So I think what we need to do is ask ourselves if this event reflects well on the village, and is this the kind of image that we want to portray our village? You know, if you had out-of-town guests that day and you brought them downtown to show off our beautiful downtown and came across this event, would you be happy you brought your out-of-town guests that particular day to have them witness that particular event? Is that something you'd be proud of? You should ask yourself. And does it reflect well on our village?
Thank you. Any?
So are we worried about the image of the village in terms of how the wrestlers are gonna be dressed up, or is there any dress code violations? Are we looking, I mean, I can't understand
The actual
how.
activity itself, did you view the
So-
video? Because that'll answer all your questions.
Well, wrestling is a sport, I watched the video. I just wanna know more about why wrestling event has anything to do with the image of the village. This
Well,
is
if you
like
viewed the
event-
video, you would get an answer to your question.
Sorry,
Can we
but-
view the video? It's only a minute and a half.
Don't ask me, I'm not connected, so if somebody else wants
So
to
I
pull
just
it up,
wanna
we could,
know,
but.
I mean, if you are putting out there, so videos can be there.
We-
Bill?
Obviously,
Could you come and get this?
No, we can't, Bobby. Was that Bobby?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm
trustee.
eating dinner.
Okay, all right, Bobby, stand by, we'll come back to you in a moment. Trustee Jamil, any more comments or questions or thoughts?
yeah, I'm unable to understand why the wrestling event has anything to do with the image of Long Grove Village.
And
Any
if,
sport-
and
any
since you
sport
didn't look
event-
at the video, you don't know what you're even talking about, do you?
Well.
But I do,
you
'cause
have
I
to
viewed it.
explain.
All right, we
Explain.
don't need to get overly argumentative. Trustee-
I mean, you can't tell me that, hey, watch the video. You have to explain why, what's the objection you have, and how is that affecting the image of the village? I just wanna know if there is any sporting event out there other than wrestling.
This is not a sporting event, this is an exhibition.
I'm giving you an example, if there is any sporting event out there, so how is that affect the village? Long Grove Village image, how that, you have to explain.
Would you like a drag show? Would that affect the village?
What is that?
A drag show?
That's not the same thing, though. It's not fair.
But I'm just saying, you're basically saying, we can have anything out there we want.
No, as long as,
What's the problem?
you know, my point of view is if there is any liability, like in terms of you're worried about, kids getting hurt, community getting hurt, or, some, you know, pelting stone event.
It's
you know,
an
something-
image thing. This
if-
does not
if
portray
there
our
is some
village in a good light.
liability to the wrestlers per se, the sponsor of that event, I'm sure he's taking care of the risks and damages or whatever kind of.
I'm not talking about risk and damages, I never mentioned that. I'm talking about the
I'm
image.
sorry, I'm unable to understand how it affects the image
Well-
of the village.
Let's get some other opinions from the other
Wrestling
trustees,
event, I'm not sure how that affects it, but.
and then we'll come back and
I'm
circle
gonna
back to
argue.
you.
If
Okay,
anybody
then
can
don't.
explain me how that affects the village. It affects the wrestlers in a way that it can inflict the bodily harm. And I'm sure the insurance and other liability things are probably covered by the applicant. So I'm unable to understand how it affects the village.
Would you bring your family to see that event?
Well, that's my choice, right? It's anybody's choice. In the village, somebody wants to have that event show up to the family, yeah, why not?
Let's hear some other opinions.
Yeah, we
Well,
should do that.
I'm not gonna sit and argue, but I didn't understand how it affects the village.
Trustee O'Connor, thoughts,
I'd,
issues?
I'd like to hear from Mike. I understand this is a promotion for the Half Nelson beer that's being introduced. So it goes along with that, since Half Nelson is a wrestling thing.
This is a beer that we sell at roughly 600 accounts. It's got a wrestling figure on the front of it. And when I say 600 accounts, this is not Long Grove. This is 600 accounts across Chicagoland that we actually sell this beer in. We sell it in cans, which has a wrestling figure on it. It goes up in, different bars and restaurants all over the place. The picture of the wrestler is there on the screen. So if you go in and you see the list of all the beers, you actually see the picture of this beer. This is something that we do, we come up with different ideas for running our beers. We work with a lot of different businesses to promote the brewery. We've actually been, changing our model a little bit over the past couple of years, where during COVID, we had the only beer garden that was open, so it was great, business was great. Now that everything is opened up again, we've actually realized that we actually have to work with other businesses to be able to expand our presence and bring people to Long Grove. And in order to do that, we do yoga twice a week. That brings in a bunch of people. We have a yoga instructor that comes in and does that. We're right now working with Lake Zurich, Lake Zurich Band Boot Camp. So we do a boot camp right now. We convert our beer garden to have a theme of the boot camp. So we have them coming in on Thursday doing boot camp.
Morning or evening?
In the evening. You wanna come in the morning, you throw kegs around with me.
So tell me,
And tonight we have improv, in there where you actually learn how to get up and speak in front of audiences and do improvisation. Improvised, conversation based on what's going on.
and forgive my ignorance, I'm not a wrestling fan.
So this is.
How is it a family thing? How is it?
So,
May I?
sure.
I grew up on wrestling. Jake the Snake, Hulk Hogan, and Andre the Giant. These are all idols of mine. They were always sports icons, and yet it is a sport. It's an athletic ability. You have to have not only tenacity, but you have to have the fortitude to build your muscle strength, but they are actors. This is one.
Right, this is not for real, yes,
Correct.
Nobody gets hurt.
right.
It's an exhibition.
Correct. And the word amateur relates into every sports function. Triple A is amateur. Semi-pro is amateur. Until you get to the NFL, the NHL, the MLB, those are the professional leagues.
You might want to talk to your promoter because his website describes it as professional wrestling.
Professional league, but amateur based.
So many of these wrestlers actually, when they can make it, so it's kind of like, you have the minors in baseball. If you're not doing so well, you get put back down in the minors. That's his league right there. When they make it back up and they can actually promote themselves back into, WWE, then they're back in the pros. So that's how he promotes it, because these are wrestlers that are one step down, from being the pros. And the people that we're bringing in, most of them are local. This is the first time we've ever done an outdoor event. It's usually indoors. They do it in Palatine, they do it in Northbrook, they do it in Deerfield. The promoter of the event is a Jewish rabbi. He runs the synagogue. He is all about family. So if you have anything to say against him, please let me know, and I'll have him come over here and talk to you about what family values are, because he can definitely tell you, because that's his job.
You know what? You don't need to tell me what family values are.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
And again, forgive my ignorance on this. Are little girls interested in this, or is it pretty much a guy thing?
It's whole families.
But primarily,
There are women.
To boys and or girls. Yes, I am a male. I was interested when I was a little boy.
well,
My sisters were not.
right, but I mean,
There
these
are-
events,
There
can
will
you,
be women wrestlers in this as well.
Okay.
So there are girls that will come to this event. If you watch his videos and you go online, you actually see everything he does. It's not just boys, there's boys and girls at all these events.
okay, all right, thank you. I needed more information.
Let's bring trustee O'Reilly in. Bobby, do you have any comments or questions?
To Rita's question about kids, I asked my grandkids, and I have boys and girls, and they would all love to see this. I wouldn't be caught dead with it, because it's just not my thing. And I try not to judge what other people like or don't like. And I know from experience that dad taking the kids and mom, it's a family function. And it could be fun if you had the right attitude about enjoying it. So I think we need to let it go and let the families come and participate.
All right, thanks for that, Bobby, appreciate it. So coincidentally, put my trustee hat on for a second. I've not been to one of these until I accidentally ran into one last week, Saturday, and after seeing it was on the agenda, I watched two matches and absolutely loved it. Everybody knows it's acting, audience participation, there was families in the crowd, young kids, grandfathers, and everything in between, and it was interactive. It was very, it was very clean. There was no foul language because the fans were just rooting on the actors. So, kind of opened my eyes. I thought, man, why not? It seemed like a very energetic, interactive kind of event, and it's all staged. And if you think any of it's real, you probably need to get your head examined, because it's very clearly acting, where nobody hurts anybody at all. So I'm all for it, actually, so I'm not sure where that leaves us.
I would make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion by trustee O'Reilly to approve the event,
Second.
seconded by trustee O'Connor.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee Jamil.
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci.
No.
All right, thank you. Moving on to the next agenda item. That would be 13, the village planners report.
I'll touch on that.
Thank you.
The Architectural Commission met on July 17th and approved the plans from Icon Building Group for 3993 Orchard Lane. It's a single-family dwelling. They will begin the permitting process for that new residential dwelling. Planning Commission met on July 18th, 3305 Old McHenry Road, garage variation this went back to the PZZBA. The board referred it back because of a concern of not enough commissioners to take a look at it. The commissioners came back 4-0 with 1 abstention, still denying the variation. This will be going in front of the village board on the August 8th meeting. Long Grove Fire Protection District came before the PZZBA, lacking consent into their application for a special use permit for the property located at 5159 and 5169 Aptekissick for a 24,000 square foot fire station and 4,000 square foot outbuilding. That has now been continued until August 15th. So that's
Continue because,
the PZZBA felt that the applicant didn't provide adequate content to support their application, so they referred it again. The text amendment to the food trucks passed 5-0. This was to complement the food truck ordinance that the village board passed a couple months ago, so we will get this communication out to the business community. They're aware that the food truck ordinance was approved, so it's the implementation and enforcement section that comes up next.
I'm gonna have that before the snow flies.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm waiting for that lobster truck.
Yes, ma'am. And that's all from the planner's report, trustee.
There's a real lobster truck.
I know.
Any questions? Item number 14, discussion and consideration of ordinance amending the zoning code regarding food trucks. All right, who wants to tee that up? I think it's all in your packet and it's been discussed somewhat. Anything significant?
This is really just an I-dotting, T-crossing exercise in terms of what you have passed. I think it was 2 meetings ago for the licensing of food trucks.
Is that okay, right?
You said to the licensing, this is just to make sure that the zoning is fully consistent.
Question?
You have to do anything or just?
You just passed this order.
We gotta approve it. Make a motion to approve it?
I move we approve the ordinance amending the I can't find the thing.
Okay.
Amending the Village of Long Grove zoning code regarding food trucks and temporary uses.
Second.
Seconded, or, motion made by trustee O'Connor, seconded by trustee O'Reilly.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Aye.
Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee Jamil.
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 15, village engineers report. Mr. Perry, what have you for us tonight?
Thank you. The engineer's report is in the board packet, and this is the running list from the last report that I gave, which was the second meeting in June. So there's a few updates here, but a couple things I'll bring forward tonight, just to kind of highlight the road program. We finally got IDOT's approval of that, and it went out to bid last week. We got a bid
Chris,
opening scheduled.
excuse me, could you ask him to speak up?
Yes, ma'am, just
Please bring the
Where's your
microphone closer.
hang on, Bobby, be there in a minute.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, is that better? Test?
Oh, perfect.
All right, very good. Excellent. Okay, so I'll just, restart. So the engineer's report is in the board packet. This is a running list from the second, board meeting in June, which was the last, engineer's report. I will highlight a few things, from the engineer's report. First is, item number 2, the 2023 road maintenance program. We received IDOT's approval of the project to bid it last week, so that is currently out to bid for contractors to look at it. The bid opening is scheduled for 10 o'clock on the morning of Thursday, August 3rd. It's been out on the streets, if you will, for contractors for 4 days. We've already got 7 plan holders that have picked up on this. President Jacob asked about the bidding climate, and I've got one contractor that continually calls me and asks if there's additional work this year. And we've already got 7 plan holders, which is near the top of what we've had ever since I've sat in the village engineer chair. So, so we're hoping that is a good indication for this one. So contractors are still hungry.
Can that be done, the work done this year, given the approval has come through so late?
Yeah, yep. And to that question, there is the interim completion date in there to make sure that Long Grove's work is done first. Done well in advance of the Prairie State Marathon, which utilizes the downtown area, the Archer lot. And we want to make sure the contractor is well out of there by then. Number 4, the Checker Road traffic calming, just wanted to note that we're going to try to bring that to resolution at the next board meeting. As I mentioned in a couple meetings ago, Buffalo Grove and Cook County DOT has not been willing to share their cut-through data, but try to work around that. The Village Hall expansion, item number 5, and I'll defer to Manager Jackson and Dana on this one, but there was a meeting on June 29th on that with Wold. If you guys want to comment on that, I did not attend that, I was out of town, but I wanted to see if there was anything of note.
We went through the preliminary layout footprint of, you were there, Trustee Tanucci, footprint of the project and the expansion of Village Hall, including the remodel of the first floor. They are going to meet with us to talk about individual spaces, what they're going to look like, size, and then also do a feedback with staff, asking what their needs might be to best accommodate as part of the build-out on it. We still talk about leads and environmentally friendly, drop containers outside, that's all still part of the conversations. So we're in the next phase of further planning with the design of the rooms.
I was chatting with an individual who is aware of this potential expansion. And the question was asked if Wold has architects on staff that are architects who deal only with building interiors versus multi-talented, or architects that you know, build a shell and then work with the client. In other words, apparently it's a specialty in the field, and it was mentioned that there's a young lady from Long Grove whose only job is to detail and design the interiors of hotels. And that, you know, this is like a thing in the architecture world. I'm wondering if Wold has someone like that on staff. I'm sorry.
No, we know that they worked on the interior design of the Deer Park Village Hall when they constructed that. Did they contract that out, or is it an in-house person? I can't answer that. I can certainly find out. But we pretty much when we did this agreement with Wold, put everything in Wold's hands as far as bidding things things out and assigning people to do that. But I'm certainly happy to make the inquiry on it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, because we're lay people, you know, we look at it and go, no, 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 I think it should be this, no, I think it should be that. You know, somebody who knows what it should be would be able maybe to cut to the chase a little quicker.
And I would tend to think that they have somebody there, but I can't say for sure, but I'll make an inquiry.
Okay, no, no apology needed. Moving on, number 7, the water treatment plant, in June, there was the, power outage, power disruption that caused a water outage downtown, and the phase monitor relay, needed to be replaced. That was replaced last week. So, systems are up and running at full capacity. Number 9, Aptekissick Road, the widening project. The county, and working with their contractor, Lake County Grading, has found a way to work around the public utility relocations that have not happened. So, Lake County Grading is out there, doing some of the, preliminary storm sewer work, doing some temporary signal work at Brandywine, and then they're actually, widening, the pavement, the temporary pavement. I did drive through there today and saw that the, backhoe, bucket was getting close to some of the power lines that were still there, so they are being careful and, really working around it.
Jeff, would you also, for the benefit of the public and the village board, discuss your communication with LCDOT today regarding Arlington Heights Road?
Yes.
Sure, if anybody has any concerns, they know we're addressing it.
Yes. While I was driving through there today, I noticed one of the subcontractor vehicles with a trailer was parked on the north end of Arlington Heights Road, which, as we know, does not connect into Aptekissick Road. So I contacted Lake County DOT, and I said, hey, do they have approval to do that? The village is very sensitive to these types of things. So I have not heard back from the county yet on that, and I said, hey, if they do have approval to use the village road, let us know, and the village would like to be part of that approval should that request be made. Okay, let's see, number 11 on the engineer's report is the Route 22, actually, back up a step, excuse me, number 10 is the Route 22 widening project. Not on the report, just new information yesterday. IDOT has entered into a contract for the demolition of 3 houses on the south side of Route 22 in Killdeer, and then one in Long Grove. This was at 4316 Willowbrook Road. Pre-construction meeting is going to be Friday morning. I'll be attending that, and we'll provide further details once I know a little bit more.
The one in Long Grove, was that Robert Coffin's home?
Correct. Yep.
The historical system.
I've seen the home. It's terrible shape.
Oh.
I mean,
I do believe they do. I remember
It was
talking
terrible
about it
20 years ago.
Thank you, Bobby.
But I do remember talking about this a few years ago and the whole 120-day waiting period, so.
Okay.
Yep.
But there's an agreement with somebody to take care of the orchids?
Yes,
yeah.
that's Citizens for Conservation.
Right, okay, yeah.
Wow, good memory. Wow.
So, let's see, number 11 is the Route 22 and 83 project. There was a meeting with IDOT virtually held on June 27th. We didn't get too many more details of the project. One of the main purposes of the meeting was to engage the Long Grove Park District. They have certain rights as a Section 4F, under Section 4F, excuse me. So they weren't in attendance at the meeting, and IDOT is working to reschedule that meeting with them because there's going to be some impacts to their property, and before IDOT moves too far forward, they want to make sure that there's not any red flags, huge concerns, or anything like that. So those discussions are still ongoing, but wanted to update the board on that.
Greg,
Number
not Greg, but, whatever your name is.
Yeah.
Has anything moved on 83 in Gilmer?
And,
What's happening there?
are you talking about the property transfer?
Yeah,
I do not believe it has, and I believe that's, one of the items that the Park District is going to want to talk with IDOT about. As the conversations are engaging, you know, bring everything to the table.
Oh, you mean 83 in Oakwood? Mitigation land? Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
well,
So nothing's
it's,
happened.
it's Gilmer across
Not
the
to my
street.
knowledge.
Okay.
Okay, moving on, number 13, the Towner subdivision drainage. There was a bid opening this morning for the project, and the village received 6 bids. So, very good. The low bidder was DK Contractors from Wisconsin, bid of $141,000 and change. Referring back to a couple meetings ago, the engineer's estimate was $145,000 and change, so that was good. A formal recommendation is going to be made to the village once the bids are tabulated. We make sure there's no math errors or anything like that from the contractors, and that'll be brought forward at the next board meeting. And then just the other drainage items, number 14, the Cobblestone subdivision drainage. Manager Jackson and Dana and myself discussed long-term solutions there. Just kind of going back a few meetings. Hawthorne Woods assisted on this one, but that's a very short-term solution. So we're still actively discussing that, and more information is going to be provided once a formal plan is created. Other than that, a lot of permit updates, but if there's any questions, happy to take them.
Regarding 17 Harbor Chase, it looks like they herbicided that whole area there. What's happening there?
I have not followed up on that.
Things brown and dead.
I know they were going to,
Looks terrible.
contract with, I thought it was Tallgrass or McGinty or something like that to burn it. The lack of maintenance, it's really kind of a start over type thing.
Yeah, but you gotta burn it in the spring for it, you know?
So I'll get some more information on that.
Unless they decided to herbicide it and then burn it.
Yeah, herbicide it in lieu of burning it, maybe. So let me get some more information on that.
How about, New Perspectives? That landscaping, that's been on here for years.
I just followed up with them again, we gotta do something.
Can we find them? I know we've got some money held back,
We've got some dollars held back.
not much though,
No,
25,000. We reduced it,
Oh, not
but
only that,
then
we still have escrow too.
we have to start using it for the deficiencies and maybe we get there.
We also have some issues with inside the building.
Jeff, I have a question, and it's partly for Vic too. A month ago, I brought to the attention of Greg and Bill. If you'll recall, a year or two ago, the lake that's on Creekside. If
Okay.
you don't,
Yep.
it's a lake. It was owned by the house that's there. They went
It's the
into,
lake that has statues in front of it, right?
pardon me?
Near it? It's the lake that has the statues in front of it, or near it, the lions?
It has the lion and the airplane. That property has gone into foreclosure. I don't think the taxes were purchased. It's in Lake County's name right now. But I didn't get beyond that as to whether anybody has bought up those taxes. But it appears that no one contiguous to the lake will own it. And that brings a question to mind. If somebody somewhere owns it and doesn't care for it, are we then going to have another water problem or a pond problem, a drainage problem, something on that order? And my neighbors and I are concerned about it. And so I'd like somebody to start considering the problem is not here today, but it will be. And what are we going to do about it? Because our HOA, we don't have authority to do anything. Although someone suggested, and maybe Vic, you'd know if in HOA rules and regs, there could be you must maintain your property kind of thing.
There can be, but it has to be in the recorded declarations, and so that's a particular evaluation that has to be made.
Yeah, I'm looking for him. But just so that you're aware that this situation is sitting there, and nobody's taking care of it now. And a couple of weeks ago, it was in bloom. And so just wonder, it's gonna be a neighborhood problem.
I think that parcel has been sold because it was on.
It's the what?
That parcel has been sold. It was on the list that we had that are.
Yes, and it shows now as Lake County. But I don't believe that necessarily means that somebody hasn't bought it since.
No, what I'm saying is I believe it has been sold because I drove over there and the land is being cleared.
No, that's another lot. That's a lot to the south of it. They're building a house, God only knows why.
That's correct.
But no, that clearing is that lot, not this lot.
Right.
This lot is 85% water.
Right, I know that one, yeah.
Yeah, we were alerted to it from the Lake County Clerk's office, through the Green Book, where we get listings of properties that have gone in foreclosure. If it's properties that the village has used for the municipality, technically first crack to take a look.
Yeah, there's a no cash bid process that's allowed under the tax code, and it does allow a municipality to take over it. Obviously, with a body of water, the vein of taking it over is that you may also have to take over the maintenance for the water. So.
Correct, and what's under it.
Yep.
That was on for 139. I remember it was Creekside, and I drove on.
Not sure what our action item there is, but what is our action
I'd
item?
just like somebody to pay attention to it.
Okay, Jeff just volunteered, I think.
Okay, good. I'll remember his name next time.
Who would want it?
All right. Village engineer reports, end of report. Any questions for Jeff? All right, thank you. Item number 16 is discussion and consideration of a resolution approving a proposal for public relations and marketing communication services with a company called Wisdom Bridge Marketing.
I sent out several emails to the board with communication regarding, we're looking at other options for outside contract services for communications. The staff met with Wisdom Bridge and had a good feeling that they could deliver what the village has been looking for in regards to e-news and print newsletters. However, I thought it was appropriate, and this was a year ago discussion with Trustee O'Reilly about the concept of trying by and let's see, test the waters with the company first before we jump in with both feet. We met with, virtually with the president of the company. Trustee O'Reilly was in attendance and had some questions that were answered by the president of the company. The proposal that's in front of you has been reviewed by legal. There are a couple items that, in discussions with the village attorney, need to be further addressed. before the contract should actually be executed. Tonight, we're asking the village board to approve the resolution authorizing the 6-month term with this company, contingent on some final items being ironed out with, final terms being ironed out with the contractor.
And I'll just note that none of them are big, they're clarifications that are best addressed ahead of time, that's all.
Would it be possible to, and if it unduly holds things up, I'll be quiet. Would it be possible for them to show us what they do, to come, even if it's virtually, to have, see what they do and?
I thought I distributed some e-samples, but that being said, Trustee O'Connor, I don't think there's any problem with us asking them to do an introduction and presentation before the next board meeting. For me, based on recent activity, I think I'd like to see executed sooner than later. Just so it's something that can be addressed in this side.
And we need to get the communication rolling again, I get that.
But having them offer a presentation, I think would be, without hesitation, I think they would be up for it.
Okay, I'd appreciate that.
I would like to get a polling on how the board feels about continuing the e-news. And the reason I say that is that it's always difficult to make. It reaches very few people. It's generally a repeat in the written newsletter. And I just think it might be a nice thing to not do while we introduce this company to how we work.
Is there any research on what gets, we get a lot of stuff via email and in the mail. I stand over the wastebasket with my mail usually, you know. So somebody must know what is better read. Mundelein sends out an e-newsletter. I get it every Friday, you know, and I read it. Because, you know, it's like, maybe I can steal some ideas.
There have to be metrics,
Yeah.
so that you know how many people viewed it, how many people opened it.
We had some,
What links they clicked on,
Yeah.
what are the metrics?
And why, I guess the biggest question I have is you say very few people received it via email. Why is that?
say that again.
Question was, you said that very few people receive the e-news. What do you base that opinion on?
Because we had the metrics 6-8 months ago on how many go out, how many are opened, and I don't have that at my fingertips.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I was asking for. And it
Right.
sounds like it's a low number, you're saying?
Yes.
And is that because it's of no interest? Is that, you know, once again, you know, we had the opportunity for $100 a year to poll the residents. We've never used it. We probably didn't even do it this year because we've never used it. But
We should. That's really relative because all they have to do is sign up and it comes.
All right, Bobby, stand by a second. Rita's trying to make a point.
I would just like there to be two-way communication in this village. It doesn't do any good for me to stand up yakking all day if nobody's listening. And an email is the same thing. A newsletter is the same thing. I would like to get feedback from people. What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? What would you like to see more of? What would you like to see less of? You know, if you had 3 things you could add to the village, what would they be? You know, I would like to hear what people think. Maybe they're tired of hearing what we're sending out. You know, there's got to be a way to figure out a way to get the emails read and or some sort of response on this stuff. You know, yes, shame on us if we don't send anything out. That's not good. but maybe it has to do with what we're sending. And we're not asking for details.
All good
Well,
points, Rita.
I think
Bobby,
it needs a
Go ahead.
look.
Yeah, it needs a look.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I don't wanna, you know, because of all that, I don't wanna put the kibosh on this. I would like to get something out ASAP. It's been a year, and, you know,
I
the price
equate it-
is reasonable.
I equate it to garbage, which may sound weird, but we've trained our residents to recycle. And the fact is that the market for recyclables has been in the toilet for a long time. So some communities have decided to stop recycling completely because it doesn't matter. It all ends up in a landfill because there's no place to sell materials to. SWACO's opinion is, whatever we do though, let's keep our residents trained to keep recycling and hope that the recyclable market grows in the future. And that's the way I view the e-news. We've got to keep our residents trained to look for that Friday Mundelein email or the Monday, you know,
There's gotta
Monroe.
be something in it that causes 70% of the people to open it.
Right, I
And
agree.
I would hope that these companies know that. I mean, salespeople know these things.
I think that's why we look at Wisdom Bridge too, to talk about, analytics are important. It's gonna tell us what drives as far as communication, what's our best portals for that communication.
You know, I think we need to separate the issues. The analytics are important in what we do, but we also have a stopgap kind of contract here that we also need to put in place fairly soon. So is there a compromise? Can Wisdom Bridge come in and make a presentation on what they can do and, you know, what their attributes are? And then maybe the whole analytics question and how we structure it going forward. It's only a 6-month contract if I'm
Right.
right.
Right, I agree.
Right, so, but let's not, you know, let's not carpetbag too much into this, it's only a 6-month deal.
But if, you know, like if there was a puzzle in there for kids every week, or a picture to color, or something that's just for kids, you know,
All
we
good.
can talk to them about that. I don't wanna put a stop on this because of that, but.
So are we moving forward?
I think you're,
I just wanna, well, go ahead, Bobby, then I just wanna say one
I
thing.
was gonna say, you're kind of pinpointing what I think is the issue, and that is content. If you're boring, I don't care how you package it, it's not gonna get read. And so we have to have good content consistently. And so, I don't know, maybe we need to train them to be what we need. But they're very experienced.
Okay.
So I just wanted to mention that page 3 of the contract states that 6 monthly electronic newsletters are included in this contract, so we're paying for it.
Right.
If we choose not to do that, then we're paying for something we're not getting, or we need to lower the contract cost. Just-
We were never on a monthly basis. We were always every other month.
Right, right,
For electronic newsletter,
yeah,
every other month?
yeah.
Because for a while, we were doing it after each and every board meeting, it was twice a month.
You're right. You're right. It was twice a month.
Because Bobby, if you remember, we reduced it to once a month.
Yeah, but no, I'm thinking of the good days when we fired out every 2 weeks and we had good content and relative to our community. And I think we need to consider getting back to that.
Okay, so we agreed to table this, or do
No,
we
we're
agree?
not gonna go,
No,
I would make a motion that we go forward with this and ask them to come in and give us a presentation and hear.
In arrears.
second.
Oh, okay, we have a motion and we have a second, Dr. Jamil.
Before that, I agree with you, but before that, on page 3, I want Rick to take a look at this, sentence here, act as an official source or spokesperson for Village of Longview. So,
What paragraph?
I'm not sure how he can be an official spokesperson within the media agency handling the news.
If it's desired.
So it should be the village manager or one of
That is a service that they're prepared to provide, but if you look at the end of that, it says if desired by the village manager or board
Yeah.
of trustees. And I will tell you that I have encountered situations for other clients where just the nature of the issue that comes up lends itself best to have an outsider be the voice. Let's hope we never have that, but if we do, we have someone who's willing to take up a mantle.
It's an excellent resource to have at our availability. Doesn't mean we have to use it, but if we need it, it's there. That's important.
Okay, so just for clarity, so we're looking at approving this proposal in the amount of $24,445?
Correct.
And it's a 6-month contract effective through the end of the year, calendar year.
The timing on that is probably gonna be adjusted because of where we are right now.
Understood, okay, very good. So we had a motion from trustee O'Connor, we had a second from trustee O'Reilly.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Aye.
Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee Jamil.
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
All right, very good, thank you, everybody. Item 17 are the village manager, our village president and trustee reports. President Jacob, do you have a report? No, apparently not. Trustee Borowski has no report. Trustee Jamil? No report, thank you. Trustee Kritzmeyer is not here. Trustee O'Connor?
No report.
Thank you. Trustee O'Reilly, anything to add
No,
this evening?
no report.
Thank you very much. Trustee Tanucci?
It's unanimous, no report.
No report, very good.
Slack.
Village managers report, anything to add, Mr. Jackson?
Provided the village board members with projects that are high profile on the project list that are on my desk right now. And I provided that for the discussion later.
All right, very good. Okay, that concludes our published agenda. I believe we have reason to go into executive session today for purposes
For pending or threatened litigation and personnel.
issues. So do we need a motion to go into executive session?
Move to adjourn. Executive session.
Trustee O'Connor makes the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second? Oh, seconded by trustee Tanucci. Sorry, Bobby.
I wanted to be consistent.
Thank you.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee Jamil.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second from Dr. Jamil. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Chris?
President.
Chris,
Yes.
could you
Yes.
send me that flock stuff?
Oh, I will. I will, Bobby.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we're out.